Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of CAS 545, Managing Enterprise Systems. In this week's discussion, we'll be talking about the challenges of implementing a single centralized monolithic enterprise data warehouse for a global multi-brand company. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. The agenda for this presentation will be as follows. First, we'll do a quick review of what is enterprise data warehousing. Then we'll drill down a little bit more detail and get to understand what we mean by enterprise data. After that, we'll touch on some of the reasons why one would want to create an enterprise data warehouse. Then we'll touch on the challenges in implementing an enterprise data warehouse, as well as some solutions to those challenges. And then finally, we'll wrap up with the discussion questions. Now, what do we mean when we talk about enterprise data? In order to fully understand this, we'll have to look at each word independently. Now, according to Thomas Davenport, any group in a corporation that shares or could share customers, markets, inventory, suppliers should be considered part of a single enterprise. And data, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, consists of factual information used as a basis for reasoning. Now, taken together, enterprise data consists of information or data that is used across the enterprise and enables the firm to track its operations as well as develop advanced analytical capabilities. Now, what is an enterprise data warehouse? At first, one might think of something analogous to an Amazon data warehouse, something that's just massive, huge, filled with information and just stuff. Now, an enterprise data warehouse is indeed much more than just a physical server and the data that sits on it. Instead, an enterprise data warehouse is a system or an ecosystem of components and services that aim to provide a central repository of integrated data from one or more different sources, with the goal of providing the firm consistent data everywhere throughout the enterprise. Now, the different components of that system comprise of things such as ETL, which stands for extract, transform, and load, staging systems, master data management systems, data quality management systems, data dictionaries and models, and so much more. So in essence, an enterprise data warehouse is a collection of services and components that aim to create an integrated data environment for the firm. In this image, we see the whole ecosystem of systems and components that create enterprise data warehouse. Now, I found this image while doing some research for work on business intelligence and enterprise data warehousing. I thought it was really cool, and so I thought I'd include it. Hopefully, you guys like it. So anyways, on the left-hand side, we see a number of source systems, such as your sales, operations, HR, and finance, which would be the equivalent to the SAP, the Oracle, and PeopleSoft enterprise systems that we've been discussing. Then you get to the middle, where we have an extract, transform, and load process, which helps take the data from the source systems, stage it, and if necessary, run it through any master data management systems, any data quality management systems, as well as through a layer of business logic and rules, as you see here in the grid. Now, in this particular image, we see an example of what's known as the bus architecture. We have a series of independent data marts for the different systems. We have our sales data mart, operations data mart, etc. These are all then rolled up into data cubes for more analytical processes. And this is kind of equivalent to the stuff we touched on in the last class, where we had to create those pivot sheets in the Access database. It's more or less the same thing, and they essentially serve as a data source into our analytical platforms, which can then, visualize that data to create dashboards, scorecards, self-service BI. You can run it through any machine learning algorithms, and what have you. But this is the whole system in its entirety, so hopefully you guys like it. Now that we have reviewed what an enterprise data warehouse is, we'll touch on reasons as to why we'd want to create an enterprise data warehouse in the first place. The main goal of an enterprise data warehouse is to create a single consolidated view of the firm's data assets to provide a 360-degree view of the firm's information. This will help create a single version of the truth, or also known as a golden record of client information, of sales information, or what have you. Next, it will help streamline enterprise-wide reporting, which is incredibly important for large corporations, especially those that span across multiple continents. Additionally, it will help break down information silos that exist across different application and source systems. This will support the firm's ability to transform data into knowledge and help create a true competitive advantage. So now that we have covered why you would want to build an enterprise data warehouse, we'll touch on briefly how you would actually go about doing that. First, you'd want to assess your current enterprise system environment. That is to say, you'd want to identify your different source systems, whether it's an SAP platform, an Oracle platform, or an in-house legacy system that's been custom built and maintained over the years. Next, you'd want to identify whether you have a heterogeneous environment or single vendor environment. Depending on your situation, it might make the enterprise data warehouse implementation a little bit more difficult. Afterwards, you'd want to determine the functional requirements of the enterprise data warehouse, such as any reporting capabilities it must have, any dashboards it'll be supporting, or just any general alerts or system triggers that should take place within the enterprise data warehouse. Next, you'd want to understand the business process and culture in which the enterprise data warehouse will be operating. That'll help shape the master data management systems as well as any business logic layer that needs to be implemented. Additionally, that will drive the overall enterprise data warehouse architecture that you choose. When implementing an enterprise data warehouse solution across a multinational, multi-brand company, there are a number of challenges you'll face, some of which we've already discussed in class, such as having different software versions or different customizations across brands or regions, or both. For the purpose of this presentation, I'll focus on select few, starting with master data management process and systems. Here, the largest issue that could arise results in or stems from disagreements on definitions across different business entities. For example, one region might define a customer by a certain set of rules, while within a different region, they'll define a customer in an entirely different way. Additionally, alternative naming conventions, where you might agree on the exact same definition for a business entity, however you call it by a different name, makes consolidating this data into a single enterprise data warehouse exceptionally difficult because you have to customize your queries, you have to customize your database interface with the different source systems to account for the different variations in names. Next, business rules. Inconsistent use of business rules across regions could result in different levels of data quality from different regions or different brands, and you'll have to accommodate for that within an enterprise data warehouse by developing complex business layer logic to account for the fact that different data from different source systems will come in a different shape, different quality. Additionally, each region or brand might apply specific rules that only applies to them, and some of that has to be either undone or merged when taken into an enterprise data warehouse. Another issue you might encounter while implementing an enterprise data warehouse across a multinational, multi-brand company relates to different processes and workflows within the different regions or across different brands. Because there's different workflows, the way in which you extract the data from the different source systems will have to vary in order to accommodate for either different milestones, different checkpoints within the workflows of each respective region or brand. Additionally, if they have conflicting or redundant processes across brands or across regions, it could result in conflicting information or even redundant information that has to then get deduplicated. Another major issue that you could face while implementing enterprise data warehouse has to do with the culture and politics of the firm. If the company itself is not data driven, there will not be overall much support in either a brand or a region for a data-based initiative such as an enterprise data warehouse, because there is little value placed on data. So that would make it exceptionally difficult to get an enterprise data warehouse up and running. Another major factor has to do with if a work culture is already used to working very independently and having only their local standards and rules to adhere to, with the exception of any prior enterprise reporting they might have done. But basically, if a region or a brand is very much strong-willed and very much just focused on their data and their rules, they're going to be very hard-pressed to join and support an effort that might potentially take the control of their data away from them and give it to some outside group. So if they're used to not working together, it'll be exceptionally difficult. Other challenges you might encounter while implementing an enterprise data warehouse across different regions or brands deals with different customizations of their source systems. For example, if Gap and Banana Republic both have an SAP enterprise system, but they have different customizations within their modules, it'll make it exceptionally difficult to pull the data from the source systems and integrate it into a data warehouse just due to the nature of the unique customizations. Additionally, having different software versions will very much impact how you pull data, given the capabilities of the different versions. You might have to design an extraction technique one way for an older version and a different way for a newer version. And then different modules in each implementation, once again, kind of touches on the different customizations. You know, if you have a CRM module in Gap, but you don't have that same module for Banana Republic, when you pull, you know, any customer-related information, you have to pull it differently because they have just different modules. And then finally, different servers and infrastructure. If the information is hosted on different servers, that just, you know, will definitely increase the complexity due to the connection strings that have to get set up, and just the interface between these different servers and different systems have to be developed, which all in all just adds to greater challenges, greater complexity with the development of the enterprise data system. All right, so we've discussed a number of the different challenges in implementing enterprise data warehouse. Now I'm going to touch briefly on some of the solutions, or at least some of the things I think are solutions to some of the challenges I talked about earlier. So in regards to master data management, I very much agree with Alan in the material he discussed in the lecture that it's crucial to identify the core data and categorize that data into different business entities, whether it be a people entity, an organizations entity, a places entity, or just a general catch-all things and concepts. Additionally, clearly defining business rules within each region at the very beginning of the projects makes it easier for you to shape the integration efforts and extraction efforts that you're going to have to do, because you'll be able to see from the very beginning the different rules applied in different regions and how you'll have to accommodate for those different logics. And if you have to build in some custom logic within enterprise data warehouse itself. Additionally, mapping out the business processes and workflows. This will help you identify when is the best time to pull the data that will ensure the highest accuracy and highest quality of the information across the different regions or different brands. Again, if Banana Republic does certain things one way while Gap does things another way, it doesn't make sense to pull the exact same data at the exact same time, given that their different workflows could result in different data completeness at different points in time. Next, and finally, is organization, politics, and cultures. You know, first things first is definitely get executive buy-in. If you don't have support from the top, it's going to be very difficult to get independent regions or independent brands or even independent departments within, you know, a single enterprise to try to give over their data and to try to dedicate resources into mapping out their own business process workflows. So you definitely need executive buy-in to get the whole thing rolling. Next, you want to architect a solution that best fits your firm. During the class, we discussed a number of different architectural solutions, such as a loose federation model or the bus model, and all of those are geared towards different firms based on how willing they are to work with the process, how willing are they to integrate their data with other departments. So depending on your enterprise, depending on the degree of cohesiveness within the firm, you may want to choose one model over the other. Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed the presentation regarding enterprise data warehouses and some of the challenges you might encounter when implementing one across a multi-brand or multinational firm. Additionally, I hope you enjoyed some of the background in regards to what an enterprise data warehouse is and why you'd want to create one. Anyways, below are 3 discussion questions. Please pick one, post it, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. Thanks.